Hey guys, you're with me, Kevin, your scuba professional, and today I'm super excited because we get to have a look at the SCUBAPRO Galileo 3 dive computer. This is currently SCUBAPRO's flagship model and the first time they've delved into smartwatch technology which sync with your phone and give you messages and emails. So I'm super excited to open this up and have a look to see all its quirks and features and interesting things. So let's pop this little brown box out the way and get right into what's going on. Sneaky to get out here. I'm going to recycle this, don't worry. Right, let's have a look. Comes in a really great protective case. This is awesome if you've got the air transmitters and to protect your unit and keep all the charging bits and bobs in there. It's got some SCUBAPRO embossed logos over there. I can catch that in the studio light. And when we open it up, that reveals the unit itself. We have the G3, a syncing dongle, and then this particular one comes with the air transmitter. To note, as I take the air transmitter out, this is an optional upgrade, not a standard with the unit itself, but SCUBAPRO's transmitters are really great. We have the G3 unit, which we're going to get to in one sec. I'll just pop that guy down over there. We have our dongle, or our little USB connector to charge it. I'm sure it comes with some charging cables on the inside. Let's have a look on the inside here, see what other goodies come with this. Got an extension strap. Extension strap really good if you're diving with dry suits or wetsuits with thick gloves, if you've just got really big wrists. There we go. There's our USB charging cable. To note, it's a USB-A. I would have thought they'd have USB-Cs by now, so this might date, but still acceptable for this day and age. Lanyard, interesting. We have an instruction manual, a lanyard, your quick start guide. I like quick start guides, they're lots of fun, it makes it much easier for me. And then the box itself, we'll move that out the way. Quick start guide, super important to keep that nice and close and keep it in your dive bag in case you need to access the navigation menus as well as the quick references to set things up. I always keep this nice and close. You have your instruction manual in over here, which covers everything you need to know. Important note, read your instruction manual beginning to end so you fully understand the complete workings of your Galileo G3 dive computer. See there's a screen protector in here as well. That would work for the first few weeks you had. It's not a permanent solution, but you could stick that on, as well as your serial numbers for the unit. Stick these inside your instruction manual. Just keep them somewhere safe. That'll do quite well in case you ever need that. There's a little QR code for you to download the log track app with SCUBAPRO to sync this to your phone. And then, yeah, the lanyard. I actually had a call with the team from SCUBAPRO to double check the use of the lanyard. Why would they have it? First off, I thought it was to hang on to the dongle, but I did note that the dongle doesn't hold the USB too well. So I think it's much safer to keep this inside the case. But the guys have said you can connect this to your watch strap and then slide that up your wrist. So should, in the highly unlikely event, your watch strap break and it's hanging off, you can still save your watch by hanging onto the lanyard. That's what one of the guys said. To be honest, I wouldn't use this on any serious diving or tech diving. It's just another little loose thing that can get caught on your wrist. But if you chose to do that, good on you, but we'll move that out the way. Unit itself, first overall impression, let's take off the little blue tags so we get a better look at it. Little sticky tags can go out. It's quite a heavy watch. So that's the first thing I note as I pick this unit up. Weight in hand is quite heavy. It's more than, I reckon, double the weight of the A1s and the A2s, but that's because of its casing. It's a full alloy casing there. I really like the bezel that they've got over here, and it's got a really clunky clicking noise when you turn it, so give that a listen. I think that's great. It sounds really, really good. People have asked me why you would want a clicking or rotating bezel on a digital watch. I think it's an ode to the old SCUBAPRO dive computers and old dive watches that had this. I just think it looks cool. It doesn't have to serve a purpose. It just looks cool, and when I'm on the boat or when I'm sitting at the bar, I like to give it a quick little twist. Gives you something to play with, which is great. From the thickness point of view, the unit is thicker than the A1s and A2s, and when I pop it on the wrist just to get a feel for it, quite heavy, so I need to support it on myself. Feels quite good on the wrist. Not actually, now that it's on, not ridiculously heavy. If I was doing multi-sports with this, it does have some sports functionality built in, a pedometer and swim stroke meter. My worry would be if it's not on 100% tight, if you were doing quite a bit of swimming, it might catch the bone of your wrist. But if you get it on tight enough, it's not going to be too much of an issue. But I think from an overall look and feel, you could also wear this as a day-to-day watch, which is great because it also syncs with your smartphone. So some of the technology they've put on here is you can receive your messages, emails, etc. on the screen. You can't reply, but it's just a note or a notification that there's something going on with your cell phone. So that is really, really good. From SCUBAPRO's point of view, with it being their flagship, it comes with all of SCUBAPRO's available dive modes. So this is a recreational dive computer, meaning that it can do scuba, nitrox, and apnea for free diving or for spearfishing. It is a full tech rebreather side mount computer as well. So if you were looking to go the route of tech diving, it can do up to 8 gas mixes, and it can pair up to 8 cylinders as well with the transmitter. So you can sync those up and set all your different gas mixes. It runs on the PDIS system, which is profile dependent intermediary stops. And essentially what this does is when you're doing tech dives and also on the recreational level, the computer will insert additional safety stops as it believes you need them as you're going up to the surface. So if you do a deep dive to say 30 meters and you need to do a deep stop at 15 meters, this would also calculate additionals below and above as needed. So it might be 1 or 2 minutes as you start to head up through your safety stops. It also has predictive multigas in the trimix mode. Predictive multigas meaning that when you set your up to 8 gas mixes, the computer will inform you if it believes you need to change gases at an earlier stage or later stage based on its algorithm where it believes you would best do with that different percentage of gas, whether that be trimix with helium, oxygen, etc. You would of course obviously plan your dives beforehand. You could stick to your plan tables or listen to what the dive computer says as well. And it also runs SCUBAPRO's micro bubble levels, which is another fancy way of saying you can set the conservatism factor of this unit from really low to really high, depending on your age, experience level, weight, fitness level, etc. So that's a great little add-on that it's got too. From the multi-sport mode, it has a pedometer built in, so it's a step counter. It has a stroke counter for when you go swimming, and it also has a stopwatch for you to time anything you needed to time, whether that be sports events or whatever. You can decide what you need a stopwatch for these days, but that's quite handy that that's in there too. And it's got a full 3D compass. I really like that functionality as well. It's quite a bright, easy to read compass, and it's multi-tilt as well. And it also calculates, like all the other SCUBAPRO computers, for declination, meaning the variation from magnetic north to true north. You can set that as well depending where you are in the world. So there's your overview of the dive computer itself. So let's go right on in and have a look at the menu items. You can see the screen of the Galileo 3 is really good looking. I like this retro ticking hand setup that they've put on here. Even though it's a digital watch, I like the digital ticking clock. You see the bezel which we can turn, and some of the details with the grooves. There's some really good engineering that's got into it. From a navigation point, the top button over here is to set the brightness and dimness of the screen. My bottom button there will enter and exit the menus, and my top and bottom button on the side will scroll through the different menu sections. So I'm going to go, my bottom left brings me to the stopwatch. I can stop and start my stopwatch there. If I click left again, I've got my times or clock settings, time zone 2, watch styles, smartwatch settings, and there I can set to receive my emails, my WhatsApps, all the other settings I need. I can set my wake up alarm, my time and my time zone. This is self-explanatory. It's very easy. You just click in and you can change all the settings there. You have your main menu section. We're going to spend some time here. This goes through all the different settings for the watch itself. So I'm going to click in. I have my O2 setting. If I click in there one more time, I can set my nitrox. So this is for my single gas nitrox. I can set it to whichever nitrox setting that I want. So by pushing the top button, I can go all the way up with my percentage of nitrox, and you can see it adjusts my maximum operating depth as I increase and decrease that. Go back to 21. When I push enter one more time, it will bring us to the 1.4 bar. I can change it to 1.4, 1.6, depending on my partial pressure of oxygen, and then I can save it, and that'll bring me out of my nitrox setting. If I scroll one down, I have my dive settings, and in dive settings I can set my micro bubble level, which is my conservation factor. So how conservative do I want to be? Do I want to have a low, medium, high? All of that can be set there. I have my gauge mode that will set this unit to be a bottom timer, so it'll only tell me depth and time. I can change, there's my gauge mode on and off. I've got my safety stop timer. I can just change the different settings I want for my safety stops. My PO2 max, that's for setting my partial pressure of oxygen when diving on trimix and on nitrox for all my different standards. Water type, if I go in there, I can just select whether I'm diving in fresh water or salt water. We'll leave it on salt. I can reset my nitrox dive time if I want to clear the nitrox tables. And then I've got my maximum surface time that can be for free diving and for scuba diving, just to set my surface intervals. Shallow stops to add in additional stops. My desaturation reset if I wanted to clear the unit completely. My all silent mode just to turn off all the beeps and alarms. The PDIS on or off, that is for my profile dependent intermediary stops. That is for the gradient or additional stops that we can put in to reduce our pressure gradient as we come to the surface. And then it brings us back out again of all the different dive settings. If I hold it in for 2 seconds and one more time there, I can click my left button here, which will bring me to the overall view of the unit itself. Here I can see my heart rate monitor. If I've got my heart rate on or off, this unit compatible with SCUBAPRO's heart rate monitor for human factor diving. So it will calculate your heart rate as well as your rate of breathing based on your tank bar as well as your depth, and give you some really accurate DCS readings. Your microbubble level, that's your conservatism factor. That's the setting. You can see the mountain over there. For our altimeter, this is set at 1,000 meters. It auto sets itself, so it's one blip up. And then you can see the battery there, already 2 blips down. We charged this unit this morning before we put it into studio, but because we've been doing a lot of button clicking and it is on its brightest mode, you can see it does chew through the battery. At its brightest mode, this unit only has 30 hours of battery life, so it would be a good idea if you leave it on its bright settings that you would have to charge it each evening after your dives. So that is done via the dongle that just clips on there to charge via the USB, quite easy to do. But you can also dim this down. If you push the top button, it does dim the screen ever so slightly, but you can go into the settings and adjust the brightness to get this unit to last several days. Also to note, the battery, this unit can be sent into SCUBAPRO to have the battery replaced. So when the rechargeable battery cell goes dead, you can put a new battery inside and that would stay rechargeable, so we can then just keep going with this unit. A lot of other dive computers don't have the changeable battery function, which makes the unit useless a few years after buying. This is a really handy add-on from SCUBAPRO there. And if I push my left button one more time, I get to my sport modes. I've got my altimeter, compass, apnea dive, swim, and pedometer. So if I push enter in there to enter my sports modes, I can just enter apnea dive, push that button once, and it immediately starts my apnea modes. So you can see it started counting down if I was doing any free diving. I'm just going to hold that back out. I would do the same for my swim, my pedometer for counting my steps, altimeter, if I enter there, tells you the altitude. We're at 1,400 meters here, what my air pressure is and what the barometer reading is. So that's quite handy if we're looking to check weather and high and low pressures. So I can adjust those as well manually if I wanted to. Compass setting is in here, so I can select use the compass. Then you can see the compass. We can turn that around. All the different settings there. This is a 3D compass, so we can use it tilting it up and down. We can set our bearings and headings, so it's a really clear, easy compass to use. I'm just going to scroll out of there, and then it brings us back to our menu sections for apnea, swim, pedometer, altimeter. And if I just go back to the main section, hold this button 1, 2, that brings me to the navigation menus, which will bring me back to the watch section. So I can scroll forwards this way as well, where I go into the menus again for my sport. There's my overview screen, setting of all the other settings that I want in here within these settings. I could also set, if I push enter, my dive settings if I wanted in scuba mode, apnea mode, or gauge mode. I can also set my pairing with my Bluetooth devices. If I click in there, I've got my dive planners. It's got everything that you need to set the unit up. So I'm just going to hold it out over there. And I can also pair my transmitters within these sections as well. So there is all the menu navigation items that we need to go through. You see, it's quite easy and intuitive to work through, and we quite like the look and feel of this unit. There you have it, guys, the SCUBAPRO Galileo 3 dive computer. SCUBAPRO's current flagship unit. We've really enjoyed going through all of the features, and we can't wait to get this out in the water diving with our instructor team. We know it's going to be a super popular item, specifically among our instructor and professional dive team, because of all the functionality that this has got. Everything from normal scuba diving to apnea to nitrox modes and gauge modes, and on the tech level up to 8 gas mixes. It's got air integration built into it for normal recreational and tech diving. Up to 8 transmitters can be paired with this unit, and we have full CCR, completely closed rebreather modes built into this guy, as well as side mount technology and also pony bottles. Everything that you need can be put on here from a gas mix point of view. You've got to remember it comes with its charging dongle over here with the USB. You have your extension strap to put over your wrist for dry suit and wetsuit diving with thicker wetsuits, your instruction manual, your quick start guide, and your additional lanyard and the really funky carry case. So I know this is going to be a super popular item given everything that goes into it. Just to remember, the burn time on the battery on this would be its only downside at the moment, being at 30 hours on full brightness. So you've got to keep in mind you always need to keep your charger with you for in between those dives, and just remember to dim down the screen if you're wearing it during the day to extend the battery life. But its big plus is the fact that you can change the battery on this unit once it's goes down or runs down through all its cycles. So you're going to be able to get a new battery put in here, which will greatly extend the battery life of this unit. So that's one of its biggest selling points, and it's a really good looking, good feeling watch. So I'm looking forward to see how well it sells across all of our sites. So that's it from me, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the water really soon.